This is really an extraordinary find, an ancient Egyptian famine mystery. Why this extraordinary 3,500-year-old SOS letter baffled archaeologists? The archaeologists were baffled when they discovered an SOS letter etched into ancient papyrus from one of the greatest civilizations' great enemies. So we know that from biblical archaeology, from the Old Testament, we know that Egypt, when the forefather Joseph the righteous, the Joseph of many colors of the tribes of Israel, was sold to Egypt as a slave. He was the one that saved not only Egypt, but the tribes of Israel. With his knowledge and his interpreting of the Pharaoh's dream, he became the right-hand man of the Pharaoh, second in command in Egypt. And there was a great famine in the land. Now, this is the same famine that they're talking about, it seems. More than 3,500 years ago, the queen of the Hittites, who lived in Asia Minor, which is now Turkey, sent a clay tablet to Ramesses II, the Egyptian pharaoh, with an SOS message stating, "I have no grain in my lands." Previously, the two kingdoms had been at war, but a severe drought was carving a path of destruction through the ancient Levant. That's the area of Israel, Lebanon, Syria. That's the ancient Levant. And it killed crops, cattle, and people, of course. There was great famine in the land. The Egyptians, unlike the Hittites, anticipated the crisis and planned ahead for the food shortage and mounted a relief effort, sending grains to their former enemies. So this, as we know, as the great preparation, the 7 fat calves, the fat cows and the 7 lean cows, the dream interpreted by Joseph, the dream that Pharaoh of Egypt had. Now, when did Ramesses II live? Ramesses II, about Ra, one born from about July or August of 1303 BC. He's known as Ramesses the Great, was the 3rd pharaoh of the 19th dynasty of Egypt, regarded as the greatest, most celebrated, the most powerful pharaoh of the New Kingdom. His successor, and later Egyptians called him the Great Ancestor. He's also known in Greek sources as Ozymandias, from the first part of Ramesses' regal name. Now, who was this Hittite queen? Well, we have an Egyptian queen, Nefertari, of Egypt, that lived at the same time of Ramesses the second. And she wrote a letter to Pudahepa of the 13th century BC. Pudahepa, or Pudagepa, was a Hittite queen married to King Hattusili III. She has been referred to as one of the most influential women of the ancient Near East. So she left, she was born at the beginning of the 13th century BC, and she was always next to her king when he made his kingly decisions. But Nefertari of Egypt had very great friendly relationship with Pudahepa of the Near East. Nefertari, Queen Nefertari of Egypt, sent gifts to Pudahepa. And it says here, the great queen Neptera, or Nefertari, of the land of Egypt, speaks thus. And this is what she wrote in her letter. "Speak to my sister Pudahepa, the great queen of the Hatti land," or of the Hittites, that is. "I, your sister, will be well. May your country be well. Now I have learned that you, my sister, have written to me asking after my health. You have written to me because of the good friendship and brotherly relationship between your brother, the king of Egypt. The great and the storm god will bring about peace. He will make the brotherly relationship between the Egyptian king, the great king, and his brother, the Hatti king, the Hittite king, that is. I have sent you a gift in order to greet you, my sister, for your neck," that is, she sent her a necklace, "of pure gold, composed of 12 bands and weighing 88 shekels, colored linen, makalulu material for one royal dress for the king, and a total of 12 linen garments." For that, she sent her gifts. Now, this is what's going on now, and this is a time of the Great Famine, where Joseph brought his brothers and his father, Jacob, back to Israel to live. There's over what were they, 70, 80 people? Now, Amazon's Prime Egypt's Unexplained Files revealed the crisis, how it unfolded. Egypt, about 1250 BC, the ancient world is on the brink of collapse. An extreme drought ravages the land. Multiple civilizations face extinction. Experts know about this dark period of history from the discovery of this extraordinary clay tablet with the hieroglyphs on it, now written by a nation called the Hittites, rivals to the ancient Egyptians over 3,000 years ago. It's an ancient SOS. SOS in Greek means sose, means save us. SOS letter to the great Egyptian pharaoh Ramesses II, and they were begging for his help. Now, the Manchester Museum Campbell Price revealed why the request was unprecedented. He said, the drought, as far as we know, lasted a huge 150 years, and it brings once great empires to their knees because of the lack of food, of course. The Queen of the Hittites writes and says, there are no grains in my country. Please, can you help? The drought has even old enemies have to pair up and help each other out, as you can understand. The series revealed how experts were baffled by not only the Egyptians who would help, but how they themselves survived. The narrator said, researchers believe the drought that the desperate queen described must be severe. Experts believe this letter reveals that during the reign of Ramesses II, Egyptians are unaffected by the drought, so they begin to question if the Egyptians know the droughts are coming and how they survived. But archaeologist Alan Macca details how researchers made an incredible discovery to change their views on the Egyptians. He said the Egyptians were able to actually help their arch enemies by sending grains. They were able to sustain their empire for a long period of time in the face of drought. We understand that the elites had a more protein-rich diet, so what were the commoners eating? New carbon isotope data tells us that actually fish and meat were not a large part of the Egyptian diet. They were mostly harvested and eaten. They would eat wheat and barley. So Price explained how the conclusion was made. He said different levels of carbon are stored in the body by different foodstuffs. By analyzing these levels and evidence of the mummies, we can work out what people ate. The Egyptians appear to have been vegetarian. Okay, so obviously the barley is very, very nutritious. I don't even know if we have that type of barley in the world today. This is by Callum Hoare on Express UK. Please leave your comments. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.